Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram. And this is fucking talking shit with Eagle, episode 587. Hopefully, you guys have had a great day. I've had a pretty awesome day myself, even more so that I've got Trichome jungle seeds in the house tonight. How you doing, my friend? You want to tell us how you're doing and, of course, where they can find you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, nice early start to the day. Yeah, just smoking a little bit my mandarina, sun-grown mandarina, just the last bits of that now. So yeah, good start to the day.
Well, I do very much appreciate you, taking the time to come hang out. It's been a little over half a year, almost a year since the last time we spoke. How things been? What are you up to?
Yeah, just keeping busy, working on a bunch of new stuff. Released a bunch of new stuff. Also working some old lines like the cherry spice. So yeah, I'm keeping busy. The new lines, the soulmate crosses using one of the Bodhi's lines as the male, and also the reverse female to make the feminized version, which is what I've just released. And all of them are coming out amazing. Yeah, super happy with all the results.
Awesome. You were nice enough to send me some of them awesome fire seeds, the Shiva Soul and the Rose Soul
Okay.
seeds. You want to
Yeah,
tell me what I can be expecting in these fire packs?
yeah, they're two of my favorite ones. The Shiva Soul is just an all-round amazing strain. The mother plant, which was the Shiva stash, has a very unique terpene profile. It has like a frankincense smell, where it has these like slight like zesty smells, but with this like crazy spice. And that's been passed over to a lot of the offspring. So you get those phenos popping up, and some with a little bit more of the sweet lavender from the soulmate. So it's a really beautiful mix. The colors as well, it really shows some beautiful colors during the flower. Really like bright purples and magenta colors. And the Rose Soul, that's another beautiful line. It's cross of the 100-hand slap with the soulmate. And the 100-hand slap that I selected was like a rosewater pheno. And again, you get these coming out in the offspring, some beautiful like rosewater terps mixed with that sweet lavender, and other ones that just lean more towards the 100-hand slap and just pure rosewater terps.
Sounds amazing. Sounds absolutely amazing. What are the flower times on these?
The Shiva Soul around 9-10 weeks. The 100-hand slap around the same. They're like 9-10 week sort of strains. You might get the odd one that goes to about 10.5, but yeah, around that sort of area.
So here's a good question I'd like to ask you, and I've been talking about a lot lately is harvest times, and letting the plant kind of naturally ripen out. So when you or other breeders put that harvest date on there, uh, when are you envisioning what's the flower looking like at that harvest period that you kind of just quoted me there?
Yeah,
What's the
well,
flower look like in your harvest?
for
In your
me,
eyes of harvest.
I go for like the trichomes. So once I start getting a bunch of milky trichomes and a few amber ones, that for me is my picking time. I don't like to have too many amber heads in my trichomes, but then I know other people like to have that more degraded trichome, so it gives it a more fuller type of stone. So that's why I have like a varied flower time as well, depending on if people want to pick it at its peak or just past the peak where it's a little bit more degraded and yeah, more maybe CBN and a little bit more groggy type effect.
Nice. Because I honestly think a lot of growers actually harvest a little bit too early, in my opinion. They kind of dictate that calendar to, honestly control too much of the harvest. What do you think about that?
Yeah, like, well, so like by looking at the buds, they can sometimes look very like mature, but once you get looking at the trichomes, I think that's the main way you can really, you've got to be looking for. People picking early, yeah, I see it a lot, but for me myself, I like that earlier sort of thing, not too early obviously, but that peak, because I find it just tastes much better. I find if you take it a little bit too far, the flavor can change, but each to their own. That's it.
Right on. Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things lately to be the topic, I guess. I kind of think when we talk a little bit about the indoor outdoors difference, I think that harvest window has a lot to do with it, to be honest with you. Outdoors, when you're planting outdoors, you're lucky for every day you get. You're not necessarily out there, scoping the buds and stuff like that, to where like indoors, like I said, it's more of a calendar thing, and you're, more production mindset, I guess.
Yeah, the environment plays a big role. So like even outdoors, the environment can degrade the trichomes as well. I find picking outdoors a slightly little bit earlier than the indoor ones. So I can put the same clones outside and have them flowering outside, manual 12-12 type thing. And they'll finish much earlier just because of the environment, I think, yeah.
Appreciate your opinion on that. So let's get back a little bit here to the Sacred Gardens release here. I don't want to stray too far off of what you got going currently. You want to talk about the rest of them here? How about the Cherry Soul?
Yeah, the Cherry Soul. That's another beautiful one. I'm just growing that at the moment. Just finished a load of them. Some of them lean more towards the Cherry Mother, some a little bit more towards the Soulmate, but then I found a few that are really beautiful mix of both, which you can smell both parents in the plant, and it has this like sweet cherry, like canned cherry, mixed with that sweet lavender gas, and it's just such a beautiful terpene profile. I'm really looking forward to making some extract out of that and see how that washes. But also I've just been sent out a load of testers, so it's the same Soulmate father or pollen donor, but with some of my other things. So I made the Kaifi, which is a strain from Heavy Days from Australia, and I crossed that with the Soulmate and made the Raspberry Soul in regular. So I've just made that in feminized, and they're all just being tested out by some testers and getting some really nice results, and all the offspring are finishing in like 7 or 8 weeks. Yeah, so it's one of my quickest strains. Yeah.
Boy, she sure is a nice looking strain here. And I'm looking here at your Instagram at the Cherry Soul, and man, boy, she is pretty. Is this post from 3 days ago? Is this from your garden here, or is this out of a tester garden?
Yeah, that's my garden. Yeah, the really colorful one where you're seeing all the mad like purples and pinks and stuff like that coming through. Yeah.
Right.
So they've all been fed like just like a reused soil. So I've reused the soil quite a few times and added amendments. some top dressing, and a few teas that I've been making, and some microbes, and that's pretty much it. Water the rest of the time.
Yeah, beautiful. Great job, my friend. And again, not to kind of revert back to the harvest thing bit here, but again, these are well within perfectly done, in my opinion. They're going through their senescence. All the calyxes are fucking nice and, well, in this case, orange, beautifully orange. Uh, and again, that's kind of more of the ripeness that I'm, I like to see myself, that the plants kind of naturally kind of shut things off and doing its own bud swelling versus, kind of pushing it with a hardener.
That's it. Yeah,
And
let
again,
the plant do its
really,
natural thing, and it finishes when it wants to finish, and you can see the plant showing you by those fading colors and stuff like that. But if you look on that page, you'll see some trichome pictures. That for me is just a little bit too early, and I take it a little bit longer than what those pictures are showing. The ripeness of the trichomes in them.
right on. Covered too. Beautiful.
Yeah,
So
and it produces some really, really large resin glands. The heads on them are much bigger than some of the other lines that I'm working with. The cherry really puts out some really big fat ones. Yeah.
sounds like a good strain for ash.
No, she returns like even on the extract. Like some of my friends do some like BHO type stuff, and they get like 25 up to about 30% returns. So it's a really good one.
So a little bit here. Tell me about the sour fusion.
Oh yeah, that's a beautiful one. It's a mix of genetics, that one. So it's got the sour diesel in it. It's got the sour power from Horty Lab. But the sour diesel was an IBL from seed, not the original clone. And the Jungle Kush. So that's one side of the parents, which is the sour Neo, and that's been crossed with the Soulmate. But the sour Neo just has a beautiful, like sweet, antiseptic sour funk. It's just like stands out above everything else. It's definitely what my favorite go-to smoke. The structure of the buds is not the best. It's not one of those like solid cookie type buds, but the flavor more than makes up for the bag appeal, definitely.
Nice. What about this tropical orange? Is orange a big thing over there right now? It seems to be in everybody's kind of garden.
Yeah, do you know what? I've loved the orange strains since when I first tried the Agent Orange from Subcore. It was just like a big hit with me. I always loved the grapefruit pheno of the NYC Diesel that used to be in Amsterdam back in the day as well. So when I tried the Agent Orange, it had that very similar sort of funky orange to really prominent, really like coat in the mouth. So I crossed that with the Agent Orange. I crossed that with a Pinomite Shiva from Sonic Seeds, and this was like back in probably about 2008. So that created what we called Special Ops, and that I back crossed to a different Agent Orange, which created the Mandarina. So that was my go-to orange strain, which I crossed with many things over the years. So like orange was a big part of my lines back in the day. Now I still have it, but it's not like a main focus for me. But the tropical orange soul, that's a Mandarina crossed with a passion flower. And that's what I named gummy berry juice. And I've got number 1, number 3, and number 5. Number 1 is the more orangey one, which is what I use for the tropical orange soul. And like the name says, it's just pure tropical orange terps. Such a beautiful line. Anyone looking for like fruity stuff, yeah, that's right down their alley.
Sorry, muted there. Does can't forget the pineapple soul here. Is that reminiscent of turfs or kind of bud structure?
No, definitely terps. It's pure tropical pineapple, like tinned pineapple. It's definitely one of the most pineapple-y things that I've come across, which is the original passion flower, and that is what made the lilt, and the lilt is just pure tropical pineapple. Same with, I've got another one called pineapple gummy, and then also pineapple soul. So all of those ones are just on that like pure pineapple tropical side of things. Some have a slight more solvent gassy thing going on, but all depends on what you select from the seeds.
So how do you like the fem side of breeding there, and how's the response been?
Say that again. Sorry, I didn't hear that first bit.
How do you like the fem side of breeding, and how's the response been?
Okay, yeah, like back in the day, I was a little bit against feminized seeds just because I've seen so many people having problems with them and lots of hermaphrodites back in the day. But over time, I grew out a few and I was quite impressed with some of the results. And that's when I decided, like, I think I'm going to make a few feminized lines myself, and I'll try and recreate some of my lines. Some things didn't work so well. I tried to make a feminized mandarina line, but it was just too many hermaphrodites coming out. But over the years, I found some good plants to reverse, and slowly built up some feminized lines, which I released. One of them was the lilt lines, which was like a feminized S1 lilt and a bunch of crosses. And then now the soulmate ones, which I'm super happy with. It. Definitely some of my best work, some of these feminized ones as well. The regulars are nice, don't get me wrong, some of my best work as well, but I'm super happy just because they come out so stable, no hermaphrodites, can put up with stress as well and still not show those hermaphrodite traits. So yeah, really happy.
So when it comes to the fem side of the things, are you happier because of you're able to more narrow down basically what you wanted when you created the strain, flavor, bud structure, and all that come through more with the fem side of things, or
no, I don't think. No, I think like when you compare the regs and the fems, some can be slightly different, but not in any negative way. I still find both lines to be just as good as the other. I'm happy that because the market, so many people want feminized seeds. By making the feminized lines, more people get access to growing my seeds. So it works better for me, and I get to see a lot more people growing out my stuff. So that's what I'm happy about, yeah. That it opens up a different market, and not just the people that want to grow the regular seeds. Because for so long, I've only released regular seeds, and it is a certain market. Even my own friends want to grow feminized seeds because they don't have that extra vegging space. They might just start from seed each time and not even keep clones. So yeah, it's a new market of people.
So I guess why I asked that, I guess, is when I think of fem seeds, I do kind of think of something more words, more kind of narrowed down in what you'll get. the less phenotypes. In fact, it kind of in my mind, I really see like one phenotype. To be honest with you, that's what I'd like to see. Anyways, so when you creating your femmes, are you creating them with different phenotypes of the same strain to kind of create a little bit of variety in your fem line, or are you working with one clone, and kind of just making a bunch of seeds from her, or
Yeah,
clones of?
by using one female and one male, you can narrow things down a little bit. Like if I was using multiple males and females, the expression is going to be a lot more different expressions. But still, with an F1, you're going to get some variation. It's only when I work the lines, like for instance, the cherry spice is like a back cross 2 now. So as you start working through the back crosses, you start to see that more stableness coming out. Where when I say stableness, I mean like where they're looking all like the same, like clones almost. The cherry soul, they look very similar when you're growing them out, but then when you smell them, you've got a variation of smells. Some lean towards one parent and some lean towards the other, and some are a mix. So yeah, you are going to get some variation in F1.
Right on. Yeah, because I guess I'm forgetting here that you are kind of breeding with a donor and basically a receiver there to create your pollen versus taking a chosen female and using a spray to create her own pollen to pollinate the rest of the room. That's what I was kind of envisioning
Yeah, no, that's what I
when you
do.
were
So when I'm
talking
making
fem
the
seeds,
yeah, when I'm making the feminized, I'll use an STS spray to reverse the female soulmate. So that's what I do for my feminized, yeah.
I guess what I'm still a little confused here again. That's what I'm saying though. When I think of feminized seeds or a feminized seed, I think of again only kind of getting a phenotype or two from a female seed there. Excuse me. So you can still create multiple phenols from taking a clone and then spraying it and getting it to pollinate its own sisters. You still get a little bit of variation like that.
Yeah, even if you S1 a plant, so the same clone reversed and pollinated on itself. Yeah. So even with them, you'll get some variation. The Lil S1s, not so much. A lot of them come out tropical, but you will get some that are short and some that are tall. But then other plants that I've S1'd, I've had a lot of variation in multiple different phenotypes. So.
Because I have talked to a few breeders that when they are creating their fem seeds there, they are using a couple of different phenols of the same strain pollinating to create somewhat of a variety there.
Yeah. That's it. All depends on what your final goal is and what your aim is. But yeah, for me, the F1s are more for like popping, doing a selection, finding those special plants, cloning them, and stuff like that. The feminized ones, they have multiple different uses. But then my work lines, that's where if you want something more stable, looking like clones, they're the things to go for. Things like back crosses, F6 lines, things like this. This is what people need to be looking towards if they want something that's coming out much more stable and all looking more identical.
Clearing that up. So are you looking to create some new lines in the for 22 or for 23 rather?
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to concentrate on remaking these feminized soulmate lines, which are the Sacred Selection. Just because I'm just super happy with how they're coming out. So I'm definitely going to be remaking these. These are going to be a stable 6 lines of mine that I'll be working with for a while now. I'll be dropping the cherry spice, which is a lot of people have been waiting for. And then again, I'll be doing some new selections this year. So popping some more seeds. I've got a few different things that I want to try and see if I can find anything nice in. So yeah, I'll see what new things I find and can start to work with. But for now, I'm just concentrating on the Sacred Selection and remaking a few of the older lines. I might bring back the Jungle Kush and the Mandarina as well soon.
That's very respectable. Very respectable. Man, I'm looking at a picture of that Shiva soul there. Is that actually like a goldish color coming off of that with no light effects? Man, she is pretty.
Yeah, all those pictures. I don't like to add anything to them. I literally just take the picture and upload it. Some of the Shiva Soul ones with a darker background, they've been grown in Czech Republic, and he gets a little bit cooler temperatures. So I think he gets some like much more beautiful colors with his cooler night temperature.
Definitely some quality growers growing out these strains, or you too. You know, beautiful work.
What are you smoking on at the moment yourself, anyway?
I'm smoking on a little bit of silverback gorilla or silverback primal there from Med Grower One. I just harvested a few weeks ago.
Nice,
Pretty
nice,
good.
nice. And do you grow from seed a lot yourself or clones?
Oh, I prefer pop seeds. You know, there's so much stuff to be worked out there these days that I just kind of keep going through the lines. I do take clones and keep clones around, but I'm not stuck on anything. You know, at some point you just got to realize that one's got to go and something new's got to take its place. So I usually just find a home for the least liked one at the time, and you know, pop some new beans, keep
That's it.
the circle running.
And do you pop a lot of feminized seeds or more regular sort of stuff?
You know, more regular is what I tend to pop myself, but
Okay,
I
I'll have to
do.
get some of the cherry spice to you then. I'll have to send you some of them, the new regular, the back cross too.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. You were generous enough to send what you did. I greatly appreciate that. I do grow femmes. That's for sure. I'm not. I have no qualms in growing out fem gear by any means. I just tend to kind of I consider them to kind of be the ace in the hole. So when I all have limited numbers, I've went through and called out the males on a strain that I just popped, and I only have room for 2 or 3 and not necessarily a full 10 pack. That's when I tend to sneak in some femmes there, some guaranteed females there to fill the gap.
I'd highly recommend the Shiva Soul. Out of the 2 packs that I sent you, definitely they're the ones for me. Yeah. And the mother pack. So the Shiva Stash is pretty much 100% powdery mildew resistant as well. So I'm hoping to get some tests done with the offspring. I don't know, I'll have to find somebody who's infected with powdery mildew. But I just had a couple of spots of it show up in my room. which I've managed to get rid of. So I don't want to see that stuff again.
Right on. So when you're looking at a plant, what are some signs of a powdery mildew resistant plant, just by eye without tests? What are
Well,
some of the signs right off the bat that are
just a plant that has no powdery mildew on it? So if you've got a room that's infected and you've got one plant that stood there in the middle of them that has no powdery mildew, that's your sign, yeah. So yeah, I'm going to be doing more tests myself. I'm going to do a full room of the Shiba stash, so we'll see how that goes. But it'd be good to see how the offspring cope in conditions like this. I'll be able to find out more at the end of the year if I leave a few plants outdoors. Like that tends to be a good test late in the year, so we have quite a long season here. But powdery mildew tends to spring up at the end of the season. So the last few years I've been lucky that everything's come down before it's got like a grip on the garden or anything like that. So but if you leave plants out late in the year, they'll tend to show a few spots. I put a little post on my page, my Instagram page, and it shows that the first signs, and that's the sign. When you start seeing that first little bit, that's when you need to start changing things. Yeah. Environment is key in these situations, but outdoors we don't have control over that. Yeah.
so I guess the obvious is having a room full of powdery mildew there, but there's no other telltale signs. Maybe a thicker leaf, maybe a little bit waxier appearance to the leaf, nothing like that. Just by the looks of the plant, kind of give you,
I'll say
that might be a little bit durable.
I'll say yes, right? Those more waxy or thicker leaves, yeah. But it's not a guaranteed sign because they just might not be they'll be a bit resistant to the mildew, but they'll still get it after a set amount of time. Yeah. Whereas other plants are just like full on resistant. So I'm really lucky to have found that plant. But again, you find these plants when sometimes things go wrong in it. So to test out the offspring, I think the outdoor is going to be the only option I have to really see.
Right on.
Do you see much of a problem with it in America with the PM?
Oh, definitely. Here in Michigan, PM can be a huge problem. The last couple of years, it seems to be getting worse on the outdoor grows, and then in the indoors, it's always a problem here because of the temperature swings. If you're not on it, it's definitely lurking around the corner. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it can be passed so easily as well, just like from visiting other people's grow rooms that have got it, or sharing clones, and even clones that can look clean, and then people will grow them out in their grow room, and it gets to that perfect environment that the mildew likes, and all of a sudden it starts springing up on the clones. So yeah, but it's a problem that not many people speak about as well. This is what I find. Yeah.
Right. I think that's just one thing in general, growers talk about or show all their successes, but you don't see too many people, highlighting the stumbles and the falls, oh man, I did get PM, you know what I mean? I've heard more than one people say they wish more growers would actually show that kind of stuff so people could learn from it more.
That's it. It's like the grower's ego in it. Yeah. So like you said, we show it when everything's going good, but not when it's bad. Yeah? But it's good to discuss these things. I put a few posts up recently, even just showing like the early signs of thrips and mites and stuff like that, just so people get it at the right thing and I even found some pictures online where it's like progressive like mite damage, and it's like you don't want it to get to that point. But especially in Spain, I see a lot of problems with like pests and stuff like that you just don't see in places like the UK in cooler climates.
One of the weirdest things I've seen lately is here in the garden, as far as, something that was going on that had me stumped, was air air quality, to be honest with you. Um, I have been growing here in this garden or in this area now for like 5 years, and never really thought of too much about it immediately when I come into the space. Uh, because there's a concrete floor and I'm used to being on a concrete floor. I know it can be terrible on the lower back and in a long day there. So I had covered the floor with fatigue mats, and never never even had any kind of issue to raise an eyebrow. And then I started to search for the pine turps here, and I've had at least 5 pine strains come through the garden. Some of them clones, so they were already, pheno hunted out and, pretty much verified. You know, pine turps, here you go. You know what I'm saying? Hand delivered, basically. And then as they went through their environment and grown out, wouldn't express that pine turp for the life of them. Nothing even close. Maybe a light pine, but it seemed to be more of a dragon fruit is what I call it, or a sweet berry almost. But and again, it had me pretty well perplexed. I couldn't figure it out. I had grown it in soil. I grew them in cocoa, and then same results both ways. I grew the strains under HPS. I grew them under LED. Quality varied a little bit, but the overall terp profile was the same. Uh, More dragon fruit or sweet berry. And then a couple weeks ago, I was talking with Mr. Toad. Not sure if you know who he is. Very smart gentleman. And he suggested, air, excessive gas of one way or another, the kind of uh, like they do with ripening fruit, basically. And then it kind of clicked right about the same time that I started chasing that dragon fruit, or dragon fruit. So used to saying it now, the pine turps, which was like 2 years ago. I pulled up the fatigue mat off this floor and exposed uh, a 12-inch floor drain in this garage area that hadn't been prior exposed. And about 2 months ago, I did kind of notice, like through the midnight hours, that it did kind of be off gassing, like a sulfur-ish kind of gas. And so fast forward talking to Mr. Toad, I have to agree with him. I think there's some type of, you know, uh, gas or something that's working against that pine terp profile, and then making that dragon fruit berry express even harder, than basically canceling out the pine. So that's one thing that I've really kind of, a stumble, fall, whatever, but it's been really crazy on how the gas mixture in your room can change terp profiles so crazy different. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, it can't absolutely cancels out the pine.
Yeah,
This
and
is like,
you've tried this clone before, and it had the pine taste before.
Well, those who grew it out for, I'd say the J1, Jack Green stock from the Growing My Fellow Home Grower show there, had sent me straight from Cali, just straight up pines, man. It's known here for the pines. You're gonna love it, man. And
But
again, I
but you
came
but
here
you but you not tried the
with
clone before, or you
no.
tried it? No. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. If you've not tried it before, I'd say that's the terp that plant produces. Um, Unless it's something to do with the feed or something like this.
Mhm.
But yeah, like yeah, I'd send them a nug and see what they think. Yeah.
Well, this is gonna be like what do you call the control, I guess, is well, I'm working out a strain for dedication strain for a DOA. I may have not mentioned it to you when I spoke the last time, but so the Colombian that was here in the garden, bred by North Star Genetics, very pine strain, you know, and it wouldn't express here. So I phenoed hunted out the Columbium and did my selection, and then I passed it on to Smiley's Gardens, who has taken my choice clone and taken it down to his environment and is growing it out down there. So
Outdoors,
I'm interested
outdoors.
to see. No, it's indoors currently. He may grow it outdoors. I don't know, but
I see a lot of
either
different
way, it'll be
expressions
in a
being
different
shown.
environment.
I see a lot of different expressions being shown, like outdoors, so I can grow the same clone indoors and outdoors and see some differences there. Definitely the outdoors, some of the, like, you get these slightly more sweeter terps coming through.
But it's just not in the one strain, though, my friend. It's like I got Xmas. Tiger King came through here. That was supposed to be. Tiger King was actually the most piney thing, closest thing to pine I had come through here. And again, with the Columbium, and all of them across the board where pine should be, this berry or what I'm calling dragon fruit.
Yeah.
Crazy. I know it doesn't make much sense that
No,
you
this plant
know.
always surprises me anyway. So yeah.
So I'm kind of waiting to see what it comes like out in Smiley's garden there. I'm really thinking there's something to this thing, this excess gas in this room, changing the terp profile. It has been I've been covering it up the last month or two, but the last few days because I've been actually using the drain. It's been open, but I would love to take some of these cuts that should be pine and then regrowing them out in my similar style and see how big of a change they have. To be honest with you, oh, and and again, I'm kind of curious to know or see if this could be something that is played with in cannabis at some point. I think somebody at one point when I talked about this last time said they're already kind of doing this, but I don't know if they're. He said with cannabis, but basically custom mixing the air quality in the rooms to express certain terpenes harder than others, or even just you know making them express higher numbers than we've ever seen. Think it's possible, Mr. Trichome?
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see anyway. But like you said, like you get your friends to grow it out, and gradually, all these things, you always stumble upon things by mistaking it.
So, with that being said, and you kind of reverting back to something you asked me earlier, is I will be at some point very soon changing or moving this grow space to a new space. And when I do, I will probably be skipping that round with regular seeds and probably throwing down some nothing but femmes that first round to kick things off, you know, with 100% success. So this next round at the new grow area will definitely be femmes first round.
What are you doing? You moving to a new state or local still?
Local, just
Okay, nice.
different, you know, from where I'm at now.
Yeah. You know, I'm looking forward to popping some seeds outdoors this year. Getting close to outdoor season now. Temperatures are starting to warm up.
Do you prefer the indoors or outdoors yourself?
I smoked outdoors for so long, I crave a bit of indoors. When you've been smoking indoors for so long, crave a bit of outdoors. So, yeah, I love them both equally. The outdoors, yeah, I just growing outdoors, you really get to see the plant like its full expression. I just love growing vegetables and everything outside as well. So it just comes naturally. I think we were just pushed indoors because of the laws to grow indoors, but I do like indoor flower as well. Yeah, you've got full control indoors. That's the main thing. I make all my seeds indoors. I've done 2 batches of seeds that I've done outdoors, but yeah, all the other things that I do indoors, I just have full control really.
That's something that I talk about a little bit about the indoor outdoor breeding. What's your opinion on epigenetics basically for cannabis? Do you think that excessive indoor breeding will kind of weaken the plant from, you know, an unseen, you know, pest or disease?
Yes, this is one thing that I'm quite big on. All my mother plants have all been grown indoors, outdoors, and by doing this, you get to see like which plants are really super strong, and only the super strong plants survive. And I gradually wean out all the weak ones. So I think we've got to go down those lines just for the future of the plant. Basically, we need stronger genetics that can handle certain environments, diseases, and pests. And outdoors is like the perfect place where you can get to see all of that.
I agree. I agree 100%. I just think a little bit of that indoor outdoor uh toolbox is definitely passed on through the seed.
You don't do much outdoor growing yourself, do you?
Again, no, because I'm a perpetual grower, a caregiver. I just kind of feel like it's kind of a security breach. Uh, I do, and just a little tiny aspect, use my recreational account as like a buffer.
Yeah.
So basically, if I want to keep something in the medical garden there, and I don't have any room because my numbers, I may throw something outdoors if the environment's, you know, good enough to kind of re-veg that plant and then take cuts from it later on. But I don't necessarily count on that plant as being there in the later. Once I take my cuts off of it, basically I let Mother Nature take over. If it makes it, it makes it. If it doesn't, it don't. My work's done with the cuts, healthy cuts. And again, that is kind of a possibility this year as well because of the move and everything else. I've kind of thought about putting some plants here and there for basically a backup this year in case the indoor grow doesn't take off as quickly as possible.
Yeah. No, this is the thing. Like with the outdoors, because it's so exposed as well. You've got so many different risks involved growing outdoors. From people wanting to steal them to lots of other things. So it's a lot of work growing outdoors compared to indoors. So many different factors. So I do really enjoy the indoors for having that full control. But outdoors is a big learning experience every year.
Do you have any in particular strains you like to grow outdoors that are out of your toolbox, out of your genetics?
Yeah, all my stuff does really well. Like the mandarina, the tropical orange, all those things just they do so well outdoors. And the cherry, I always tend to put a couple of them out. The cherry spice, the cherry cookie. So I always put a few of my mothers out, like green clones. And then most of my things I tend to go from seed. So last year I did a few new things from a few different people. Tried some of Motherlode Garden stuff, which was the ancient OG from Bodie, but he's worked the line to like F5. Some coffee. What else was there? Tizer. And a few other things. So yeah, did a few things from seed last year. Everything came out really nice. So yeah, seeds is my main thing outside. But I always like to pop a few other breeder stuff just to see what they're up to, what they've been selecting for, and what their terps are like. So I was really impressed with the Tizer. Definitely be growing more of that. Coffee was nice. I think it's worth looking at more of them. And I think they were the main two that stood out from everything. I did this other thing, Rainbow Jungle Skunk, which is done by another guy. That was really nice. So yeah, lots of it's always nice to see what other people are up to.
Yeah, man. I'm looking at this tropical soul and the soul fuel grown out by Motherlode gardens there. Man, these plants are huge. Not even in flower yet, it looks like. Definitely some beasts for outdoors.
Yeah, that was last year. He did some really big ones. Yeah, he always grows huge plants. He does some beautiful work. Yeah, it's nice. Like he sent me a load of his seeds, so I'll probably be popping a few more of them. He even crossed one of my mandarina strains into one of his things, so I'll have to pop some of them at some point. But yeah, I always love watching his work. Beautiful plants, big plants. He loved the jungle juice, so that's why he did the soul fuel, which has got the jungle juice mother in it.
Definitely some monstrous plants there. Are you impressed sometimes when you send these seeds out or you see people growing them out online? Have you seen some folks grow them out better than what you think you have?
Yeah, I love seeing people do like such a good job. Yeah, and like if anyone does like a good job, like send me your pictures. Do you know what I mean? I'm always looking for people that got some nice photos to post up on the page. And it always gives me a big smile when I see anybody growing them out like that. Yeah.
Right. Awesome, beautiful work too. So what do you have in store for 2022? Anything fun that's happening this spring summer season?
Yeah, well, Spanibus is like literally in a couple of weeks, yeah, or less even. But I'm not too sure if I'm going to go down there. It's all a bit weird at the moment. I go down there just to see a lot of people and just meet friends and stuff like that. And a lot of people are not going this year, but then I've had a lot of messages recently where people are going, so quite unsure at the moment. But yeah, it's a bit of a strange time at the moment. We've not had it for 2 years now, so yeah, hopefully it all goes ahead this year and it's a good event anyway.
Oh, I'm kind of looking forward to some of these events myself, man. I just missed out on the Regen conference here in Michigan and seeing all the pictures everybody was posting up. I was like, man, I miss it. I miss it. I was kind of guilty of not getting out and catching. I made a few events last year, but I really hope to make a lot more this year.
Yeah,
Miss
I
it.
need to go to some good events. I've missed out the last couple of years, so but yeah, Spanibus. Hopefully, that's going to be a good event. I don't know what else is going to be going ahead this year. IC Mag, there was no IC Mag Cup this year. Hopefully next year it's going to definitely going to be an IC Mag Cup. So that I really enjoy every year. And again, we haven't had that for a couple of years now.
Do you guys have like the same thing, like regen conferences and stuff like that? So conferences that you guys go and check out over there?
Yeah, like the main events, like in this area, it is the Spanibus every year. That's like a huge event. Yeah, definitely worth checking out any videos you can find on YouTube and stuff like that, because it is a really good event. And it's like people from all over Europe come to it, people from America, Canada, everywhere. So it's a really big event. And because you have all the clubs after the event, everyone's in the clubs in the evening, smoking in the clubs. So they have like the whole social club system in Barcelona. So, and there's parties afterwards. So there's always things going on, and every night there's things going on. Yeah.
Definitely missing it myself. Hopefully you get out and enjoy some of that this year.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Spain?
No, I haven't. But sounds like that's an event that I'm gonna have to put on the bucket list.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's yeah, such a great vibe. Yeah. And like the actual main place where it's set up, it's just got, you've got the main like expo inside, and then you have like an outdoor area where people can eat, smoke, all of that, and it's just like they have outdoor music a little bit. So it's just a really nice vibe, really great people. Yeah, such a good event. I've really missed it the last couple of years, because it's like a time every year that you see these people in it. So I haven't seen a lot of people now for a couple of years that I would see on a regular every year. So yeah, hopefully I pop down to the one in a couple of weeks.
So being in the cannabis industry, do you ever take time at them events when you go as a vendor? It's hard to even enjoy the events. It's usually
Yeah, I
isn't until nighttime you can take that breath, and then most people are gone. Do you ever go just to go and hang out?
I only go to hang out. Yeah, I never do a booth or anything. I shared a booth one year, and then what I tend to do is just enjoying myself, go around all day, meet all the people, chill at some of the booths with some of my friends and stuff like that. And then in the evening, I'll say which clubs I'm going to be at. So I'll be at, say, La Colada on a Friday night, and they'll give me a little area. I set up my seeds, I sit down, and it's much more of a nicer sort of environment where it is not too many people. the people are only coming there maybe to see you or chill at that club. So you can sit down and talk to them, have a smoke with them. I'll have some flowers there. I share the flower with the people, and it's just a much nicer vibe about it. And then maybe on the Saturday night, I'll be in like Wee Flowers, and on the Sunday night, a different club. So that's how I do it.
So I'm curious to get back a little bit to the seed side of things there. The only bummer about you not kind of vendor in there is uh just the more or less the public being able to kind of get out there and pick your brain, I guess. It's you're harder to catch when you're in Cognito, bouncing around a little bit there.
Yeah, no, I'll make it like a proper event. So from like literally from 8 till 1 in the morning, I'm at that club. I have my little section with the seeds set up and all that sort of stuff. So it's like my own little booth in the club in the evening.
Nice, appreciate it. So is your the reg seeds, the entire line for the regs available?
Yeah, the regs and the feminized are both available, and they're available in the USA from like Seeds Here Now and Cool Beans. Both of them guys have got my seed stocked, and Seed Supply. So they have all my strains. UK and Europe, I've got some other distributors, but like Simply Souvenirs, Manchester Seeds, and lots of others. But if anybody goes on my page, on my Instagram page, at the top of the page, it shows all my distributors there.
So one thing I've been curious of talking about lately, I guess, within breeding is parental stock. Do you keep the same parents, or do you kind of recreate the batches when needed?
Yeah, no, I've got all my like original parent stock. Some lines over the years have been lost and I've recreated, but all the lines I work with now are all from my original mother stock, the same plants, the same crosses, using both same parents. The new Cherry Spice is going to be a little bit different, but that's a back cross, so selecting from the seeds and going back to the original mother plant each time. So yeah, that one's different parent stock, but that's working the line so it becomes more stable for the traits that I want.
Very respectable. I think that's something that's super important, to be honest with you. It takes so much time to really figure out, what that male's throwing, what traits that, he's putting out. Seemed like a waste to just kind of chuck these males after just unlocking what exactly they're doing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, this is like, it's like for me, just like growing those plants out over and over again. And it's because I've used like say mandarina, for instance, in like multiple crosses with like lots of different plants. So we'll say 8 different mandarina crosses. I really get to see what the mandarina adds to each one of those 8 different plants. So once you work these out, these are like you're breeding building blocks basically. Yeah. So once you discover what each plant does, it takes the breeding to another level. Yeah.
Definitely a lot more accurate breeding. I would think it would speed up the process once you've unlocked everything the male has to offer. Definitely seems to would be more purposeful at that point, to be honest with you.
No, definitely. That's what it's all about. And like accurate, I wouldn't say accurate, but accurate a lot of the time. But this plant surprises me sometimes. Yeah. So like, yeah, it's always surprising me.
So when the male brings so much, but how much in your opinion, in percentage wise, does the male bring overall to a new cross?
It all depends on what is being crossed with. Yeah. So each plant can be quite different, but I try to select for plants that males, pollen donors that are not too dominant. So I want the plants to come out more like the females, and I'm using the male more like a pollen donor. If you know what I mean.
Right, right. Just kind of pushing it along, stabling it a little bit. Sounds like.
Yeah, that's it. But like the soulmate lines, for instance, most of them lean towards the mother plants, the offspring, but you still do get that soulmate terp coming through on some of the things. And like the terp, the smell and flavor is like one of my main things that I select for. The growth pattern and flowering time is all different depending on which line I'm working, but the flavor is like quite a dominant trait that I try to pin down, because you don't really want 5 different flavored strains. Do you know what I mean? If you maybe want to do a crop and have 3 that are like this and 3 that are like that, so I prefer to try and work the lines that way.
So would you breeding sounds like then necessarily overall THC number isn't a factor. You're going more for quality of flavor.
Yeah, the THC and all of that comes into it, because I always select for high resin content, things that I'm a big thing about sifting every single one of my strains, all the offspring, just to see the like type of resin that I get as well. So resin is very important to me. Yeah. But that comes with the terps. I think like when you start to select like super terpy strains that have this like, oh, they hit the nose in a different way. They tend to be the ones that are super high in all the cannabinoids that we want. And I find terpenes play a massive role on the high of the strain as well. So THC, we could talk THC, but THC isn't what gives us the full effect, that broader effect. That we can have 3 strains that are all about 18% THC, we'll say, for example, but the terpenes can vary so much, and they'll give you such a different high. One of them can be like much more like uplifting and creative type of high, and the other one can be like relaxing, you want to go sleep, but they're all got the same sort of THC reading.
It just seems like it's an either or type thing. Either it's super terpy, or the THC numbers off the charts. There isn't a fine mix there of both that I've seen quite yet. So are you looking to bring anything new into the fold this year?
No, this year will be just like I said, creating older lines and remaking some of the existing ones available, and then selection. This year's to do some more selecting. So this year will be just selecting the plants from growing them out, and then regrowing them and seeing which ones I want to keep. And if anyone make the grade, then they'll be added to the stable, and next year will be the new breeding work again.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, I did hear you, say you're gonna work the older lines and stuff, but that doesn't mean you won't drop
Yeah,
something that
the
you're a
Jungle
little
Kush.
curious, boys, about. Yeah.
Yeah, the Jungle Kush is one of the older lines. So that's like the SFE, OG Kush, and the Bubba Kush pre 98, the original clones, crossed with a Hawaiian. So that one was the Jungle Kush. So I'm going to be bringing that back, but from working my back cross 2 seeds. So we'll see if I can find the plants that I'm looking for to bring that back. And the Mandarina I'm going to bring back, but I've still got the original mother that I used for the Mandarina, so that can be easily remade. There might be a little bit of difference in the Jungle Kush line. We'll see how the selection goes, but more variation, if anything. The Mandarina will just be coming out like the old school Mandarina, exactly the same.
Northern Grower 4466 would like to know your suggestion for the most fruity terps you have.
Fruity terps, I'm gonna say the pineapple soul. But then if you want that more fruity, no, that's pure pineapple, tropical. And if you want more like fruity with a zest as well, then it's the tropical orange soul. But you can also the lilt lines, the lilt S1, they're like my fruity things. Yeah, those ones. But if you want something more like gas with some fruit, but more on the like cherry berry sort of thing, the raspberry soul, which is going to be the new one, and the cherry soul, both of them are beautiful.
Gus Grow would like to know where your pineapple incense is from.
Okay, that's the Kaifi. So the raspberry soul that I just mentioned, the same mother as the raspberry soul, which is the Kaifi, crossed with the lilt. That's another beautiful line. The tropical pineapple thing from the lilt mixed with the raspberry sort of berry, not raspberry, it's more like a berry of some sort, yeah. Not blackberry, it's like, it's close to raspberry, but it's like some sort of crazy fruity berry thing. And that crossed with the lilt came out amazing. Like these like crazy like candy, fruity, tropical things. Some really nice and such a beautiful bud structure to it. And it, again, one of my quicker flowering strains, like done in 8 weeks.
That lilt, another beautiful strain.
Yeah. Do you like your fruity stuff yourself?
I go back and forth. I look at a little bit of fruit here and there. I tend to like more of the gas and the pines. Fruits here and there are good. The floral stuff, but my
Yeah.
main grabs, I try to tend to gas pines.
Yeah. You'll like that
Then
Shiva stash. The Shiva stash is well up your line because like because it has this like frankincense type terp. And frankincense is very high in pinene, yeah. So you'll probably like that one.
I definitely like the Sacred Gardens logo there. It's so cool. It's very cool. I definitely like the Shiva concept 100%. Endeavor in chat wants to know what is the rosewater lineage, if you don't mind
What
answering
is the
that for me.
rosewater? Sorry, what is the rosewater?
Lineage.
Okay, so that's Rianne, which is it's a rosewater cookie pheno. So I had a fruity pebble OG crossed with UW, and that came from Motive 303, and I found this rosewater pheno in there, but it really just didn't come through on the flavor, but it was there in the smell. And I crossed that with a Girl Scout cookie crisp cross, and that's what made the rosewater cookie. And from those seeds, I selected a male, which I used in some very old crosses, and I selected a female, which I named Rianne after my mother. And this plant crossed with the jungle kush is what makes the 100 hand slap. And the 100 hand slap is what produces all the rosewater sort of smells and flavors. And then that's what I used to cross with the soulmate to make the feminized line. And again, you get those rosewater terps coming through again.
Sounds amazing. Gus wanted to know, is pineapple incense available?
Yeah, if you check distributors, they still might have some packs left. I know some are sold out, but if you check them, there should be some available. Seeds here now should have some. Genetic Supply and Cool Beans. Yeah, check all them out.
As far as I'm curious to know, as you as a breeder, do you ever worry about seed stock being handled from distributors there, as far as like how old the seed is and how it's being kept and all that? Do you you ever worry about any of that stuff?
Yeah, do you know what? A few companies have still got some old stock. So yeah, maybe with germination rates could go down. I always wonder about that, and like you said, how they're storing them. But most of my distributors, I work quite closely with them, so I'm always like I always check up on how seed sales are going and stuff like this. So and get them restocked with fresh stuff as soon as they sell out. Older stuff, what they tend to do is like reduce it and do like sales on it or something like that towards the end. But again, yeah, I don't have much control on how long they have the seeds for or whether they sell them or not. Yeah, seeds here now do a really good thing though, where if anyone's not satisfied with the seeds, they'll replace the seeds straight away anyway. So they have like good customer service and stuff like this.
Right on. I always just wonder if that's, kind of is it a concern, basically, in cannabis? If I were growing cannabis and passing it over to a distributor, I would absolutely be worried about how long it's kind of sat there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And if anyone's ever got any issues with any of my seeds, they're always welcome to send me a message on Instagram. I'll always get back to you. Just send me a written out message of any problems, anything like that. Yeah, I'll get back to you. So yeah, it's all about good customer service and looking after these the guys that are buying your seeds. Yeah. So and I'm always available. Yeah, check me out on Instagram or anything like that.
That's pretty damn cool. I usually don't have any problems with most of the seeds I've purchased from any of the distributors myself there, but I often wonder, how long they have sat on them and stuff like that, to be honest with you. Because, packs just don't have like born on dates. And a lot of times, they do break up. They're getting the bigger packs, and so they can break them in down to by the seed purchases. I've been guilty of snagging a couple of reg seeds, one or two reg seeds from certain websites, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, What are you going to be popping next yourself?
Of course, some of your gear. I have, oh man, I've got some stuff from Floor Nugs I need to pop. Some stuff from Empire Breeding Co., some stuff from Med Grower One. Will all get popped at the new garden. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm still kind of in the tester phase. I've never really grown out of uh, liking to test the seeds there, looking to get something that nobody looking to get my hands on something else that somebody doesn't quite have yet. It's always kind of appealed to me.
No, that's what it's all about, you know. It's all about popping the seeds and stuff like that. So like anybody that's getting into like breeding or just growing, just pop as many seeds as you can. So there's many different varieties, and it's how we learn. It's how we see all the different genetic diversity that is available to us. Yeah. So the more seeds you pop, the more you learn. That's it.
Most definitely. So when you're doing a pheno hunt, how many seeds are you popping at once? What's a proper pheno hunt for you, in your opinion?
Well, do you know what? It really like for me, I think I'd rather pop like 10 seeds of say 20 different varieties, so 200 seeds, yeah, than 50 of 4 different varieties. So I like to grow a lot of different varieties when I'm doing a big selection for different plants. So last year I grew out a load of plants, different ones outdoors. Got to see which plants I really liked. And then from them, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely going to be popping a packet of those ones, another 2 packs of those ones, and things like that. So I'll work by growing out small numbers first, even 5 seeds, yeah, of one strain, and grow out big numbers of lots of different strains, and then from that work out which ones I want to further work and grow more seeds of to do a selection.
I could dig that. I could dig that. Yeah, I like variety myself too. I could. It'd be hard for me to work through a larger number, 50 to a 200, just to work it down to a few. That's serious breeding there when you get into them kind of numbers. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, one year we grew out loads. It was between like me and a few friends, and they all helped me out, like popping a load of seeds, and we popped like 1,200 seeds between us. So really got to see like what's available, yeah. And we had like, I don't even know how many different breeders and other people's seeds that they sent me and stuff like that. There was quite a few. I'm going to say maybe like 40 different strains, 50 different strains or something like this.
What's the furthest you've seen some of them seeds travel?
Well, my seeds are like the seeds that I make. They're available like Australia. I've seen them grown out in New Zealand, South Africa. A lot of them go to US, Canada. So yeah, I've seen them all over the place, and yeah, all over Europe. Yeah, that's it. So it always gives me a smile when I see people growing them all over the place.
What's your in particular favorite right now as far as flavor goes? What are you smoking on?
Yeah, well, I've started off on the one of my outdoor sun-grown mandarina crosses, and then now I'm on some lilt. I just find these really nice to smoke in the morning as well. Not too heavy, much more sort of creative, I can get some stuff done, but I've still got those like stone dies. So yeah, it's a nice one. So that's what I'll be smoking on today. Yeah.
I definitely like the lemons. They're definitely good for the daytime. Clear headed. It's kind of funny how the fruit terps kind of come in waves. Would you say that's kind of true? One year it'd be lemon, one year it'd be orange. It's kind of, they definitely come in waves.
No, they definitely, like you said, they do come in waves, yeah. But like that gas tends to be always there, like it's solid, yeah. Like for me, like in the evening or even in the day, I do like to smoke like my cherry crosses and stuff like that. I really love them. Like so, my go-to like favorite things that I like to smoke are my cherry cookie, cherry spice, cherry soul. I really love those three. My Shiva stash and my Shiva soul, like that type of terps is my type of terps. I really love those flavors and that rose water thing. So those three things for me are like my go-to. Those jars go down first, and the sour neo with that like crazy antiseptic gas sour thing. So yeah, I love all those things.
I definitely gotta admit this rose soul, sorry, definitely sounds very interesting. I've never had any kind of cannabis with some kind of rose terps to it. That'd be a absolutely new profile for me. So I'm very anxious to throw this one down ASAP.
Yeah.
I'm almost, as far as like this grow goes, getting things moved over, reset up, and I'm already just wish it would be over and done because man, I've got such good fire here sitting in front of me. It's just I want to get it going. I wish I could fast forward time so they were already in the dirt, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it'd be very handy that if we could do that.
Definitely. Most definitely. So, what has been your most challenging environment for you to grow in? Have you always been pretty much in the same gardening area, or have you moved around a little bit? What's been your
Yeah,
toughest environment?
challenging. I'd say growing outdoors in the UK was definitely very challenging. Yeah, very different experience. It doesn't even produce like the terps like it does out in Spain. Um, Growing in the Spanish sun is just so much. You can produce stuff that's just as good as indoor, but like outdoors in the UK, it's very hard to do that. Um, but even outdoors in Spain has been very challenging. Uh, like I said, learning every year. Um, but yeah, indoors challenging over the years. Yeah, trying when you have like problems. Yeah, but like outdoors is the one. Is that you're always learning. Indoors, like I said, you just have so much more control. So once you have like a set way of doing things, it tends to be a flow. But yeah, um, always learning. This plant is like I view the plant as like a teacher plant. It's just we learn so much from it.
So very, very true. Uh so I'm pretty sure I remember you being an organics grower, correct?
Yeah, that's it. Like now I just feed organic feeds and stuff like that. I make a lot of teas, just from basically stuff like nettles and stuff like this. Um, and then some like soy aminos and things like this. So yeah, just keep it really, really simple. Like I do if I was like growing my vegetables, I make my own compost, so I'll add a bit of compost, a little bit of top dressing, some worm castings, just very, very simple.
Do you grow vegetables? What kind of vegetables do you grow?
Yeah, last year I grew a lot of melons, quite a few different varieties, like old heirloom varieties of melons. This year I'll be doing cucumbers, tomatoes, lots of melons, a few different squash, courgette, and stuff like this. Amaranth, corn, and probably a lot of like leafy greens and beans and stuff like this. So yeah, quite a variety of stuff. Sweet potato as well. Sweet potato did really well last year, so I'll definitely grow more sweet potato.
You ever do like a crop rotation, or is there in your mind like a good starter vegetable or plant before you actually throw like the following year, throw some cannabis in that plot?
Yeah, not so much. I haven't done it so much here, but I used to do a lot of like cover crops and stuff like this back in the UK, and then dig all that in. But out here, not so much. But I like to do like more like you said, like a crop rotation, where if I've grown like potatoes in one spot, I'll move to another spot and something goes elsewhere in there, like peas, which will fix the nitrogen. So I do stuff like that. But other than that, I haven't been doing any cover crop planting and stuff. Yeah.
Right. I have again. I haven't been outdoors yet, but man, just to kind of keep up with conversations, things I've been trying to read a lot of like regenerative uh, books on outdoor regenerative growing there, and man, it seems so appealing to kind of just let nature uh, take most of the brunt of the work there. Just kind of you put things in and just kind of moderate a little bit. Sounds like an awesome way to grow if I could do it someday, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the whole no dig and permaculture methods are definitely the future. I look forward to getting like a nicer farm that I can implement all my knowledge and yeah, hopefully start something cool in the future.
What would be your heaviest hash producing strain if you had to call one out?
All the cherries, all the cherry things, the cherry soul, they produce like, yeah, like crazy. Also the rose soul, she's nice. I made some beautiful sift hash from her, so that's a really nice one. But then if you're talking like extracts, more like BHO type stuff, the lilt and things like that make some crazy BHO, but I'd find when you do them in the water hash, they're not as terpier. The sieved hash off the lilt and things like this, the tropical things, still retains the terps, but it seems to be maybe more water soluble. So in the water hash, it really does lose it. So I recommend things more like the cherry soul and stuff like that for water hash.
Why is that, in your opinion? Is it just the trichome head, basically the gland thickness, or is it a whole different structure? More, I guess, like you say, water soluble versus like an oil
Yeah, that's it. Like
skin.
it's the water soluble terpenes that are lost, and you'll even see in when you make the water hash, there'll be like a slight oily, like you know how you when you get oil in water and it's got that like slight color to it, like rainbow. You'll see like that oil texture on the top of the water sometimes with these strains. So it's definitely lost in the water.
It's always a bummer too. The purples I find like a purple punch always never seems to wash very well for me. What is your favorite type of extract? Are you a bubble man? Do you prefer the BHL? What's your favorite extract method?
Nah, I like sift
Product.
hash. Yeah, I really like sift hash. I think it just retains everything. But I do like a bit of bubble hash as well. So water hash or sift hash, it's one of the two. This round, I'm going to be making water hash using the bubble bags. But the last couple, I've been making a lot of sift hash. So I thought change it up a bit and back to some really nice. I do like the sift hash, like the gooiness and texture that sorry, the water hash, the gooiness and texture you get from the water hash is a little bit different. You can get the more gooey, but it just you've got to really clean the sift hash. So I'm not like big on like static tech and getting it super clean. I just use screens that are good enough to make a really nice grade of hash, but just sift, and it just, I find it retains everything. Yeah, it's really nice to smoke.
Are you drying that material before you wash, or are you going the fresh froze route? How do
No,
you handle material?
this is going to be dry material just because it's from my flower, my personal flower sort of crop. So I've just dried it and left everything on it pretty much. So that'll be dried, dry trimmed, and then I'll use that material. A lot of the like sugar leaves and smaller like popcorn buds. That's what I'll use.
So, are you a whole plant hanger as far as dry?
This time, yes. Um, Sometimes I'll take it off into like branches and give it like a slight trim, because sometimes I find like just giving it a trim while it's fresh, you're not like smashing up the trichomes too much. So I'll take quite a few leaves off, but very close and very gentle, not like going crazy on the plant at all, and then hang it like that. But this time it's literally took off some fan leaves and hung the whole plant. But when I
Yeah, I
come to
go.
trimming, I'll probably put a screen down. So I'll trim over a screen. So any trichomes that come off will still be caught on the screen. So I won't be losing anything.
I definitely go back and forth at least in concept, when it comes to some of these drying methods. There, uh, I can definitely see the value in some of these machines or quick drying methods. I think there's something to be said about a quick preservation uh, that isn't nearly as bad as we kind of thought it was in a quick dry, done correctly, I guess. But
Yeah, do you know what?
I think
I'm a big believer in quite a slow dry, and quite cool temperatures as well. So I keep it quite cool, the temperatures, um, just because I don't want to degrade the trichomes at all. And then I do quite a slow dry, probably around like 10 to 14 days. And then they come off the branches. Um, they'll be nice and dry, put into a jar, left in a jar for 24 hours. And then I open up the jars just to let them re-dry again, just in case any moisture's come out from the center of the bud. And then once that's dry again, those lids get closed on the jar, and that's it. Um, the reason my like trimming changes, it just depends on the situation and how I feel. But everything's just for myself. It's just all personal smoke. So um, yeah.
I could again. I kind of go back and forth. I utilize all the methods myself, but as lately, man, the methodology, I guess, in a longer cure. Um, I guess the reasons why I is what I kick around the most. For the most part, you've growers in the past have kind of threw out there the whole plant uh, hang there, slow cure was moreover the leaves, draping down the sugar leaves and the everything kind of draping over the plant and kind of locking in that smell or the terps and that kind of being a preservation kind of technique. But I don't these days as I kind of learn more and more on the plant's processes, I don't necessarily there may be some to do with it, but I don't think that's all of it, to be honest with you. I think there's more factors that go on that kind of dictate the end product. I guess water availability, one, by have you, like you kind of said, have you went in and did a little bit of work prior to that hang? I think matters some because I kind of think that water availability, as the plant dies out there, it's still going through some changes there, and I believe there is a little bit of stress factor there of knowing, being alive and knowing it's dying. You know what I mean? Just like grass when it's being cut throws out that terp, that scent. I think
Yeah, same with
as the
animals,
plant's
isn't it?
there dying slowly, yeah, it's kind of putting off a different scent there to kind of tell the other cannabis plants, harvest is coming. You know what I mean? I think there's
Mm.
something more like that going on than just like I said, the leaves kind of surrounding the buds and holding the terps going on. I think there's more of a life process going on.
How long do you dry for?
Well, and again, that varies. This plant that I'm taking down now will be chopped down and it's going into a dryer. So within 4 days, it'll be in a jar.
What do you mean a
And
dryer?
it's it's a well, the machine is a My Herbs Now machine, and it's kind of a reworked by looks. It's a dehydrator, kind of very similar looking machine. And again, a lot of times we've heard, the faster the rush, you get those hay terps from a quick rush or, dry. I think that might be some of it, but I think it's more method going on there. Uh, I think it's more of a quick preservation method. The quicker that you can kind of dry it and lock in them terps and get it, jarred up and into the curing process, shows very little ill effects, to be honest with you. And I know there's more and more of these cannabis dryers coming on the market that kind of control the factors even more than this machine does. And and again, it's kind of like a freeze dryer there. I've seen cannabis freeze dried too, and it looks beautiful, looks freshly harvested, holds the terps in, but when in longer storage tends to turn to powder quicker. And that's kind of a little bit what I've noticed with the dryers as well as long-term storage isn't quite as durable. But I go back and forth. I used to hang dry before I did the dryer, and never a whole plant hang. I used to kind of trim, like you said, branches, take cut branches, trim them down, and put them on the clothes hanger and let them dry like that. As long as I could let them dry. But again, as I'm learning and watching these dryers, I'm starting to kind of question the method there, both ways, the living dying method or the quick dry or the quick preservation method. I think there's
Yeah,
something to be said both
I'd be
ways.
interested to try some of that um, ones done in the dryer. Um, so you think they taste still really good?
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually done side by sides where I've taken half the plant and, like I said, trimmed it somewhat and hung it, and then some in the dryer. And, you know, the herbs, my herbs now machine actually tasted better.
The
And
one in the
you
dryer
know, and
tasted better.
I've actually, back when I first kind of started doing this, and I first started using the dryer, I was actually on would be on the show. You know what I mean? All right, well, I'm gonna be in Detroit next week, and I'd be on air like chopping this plant and being like, "This is the plant I'll be smoking with you," Friday. And I show up Friday with that machine dried bud, and nobody ever had anything ill. And a lot of times I wouldn't even say anything. If they didn't know, I didn't go, this is a dried, machine dried bud. Nobody in that when I made the switch, my patients didn't never even knew, from the dry to the machine. My patients never, but you doing anything different there? They didn't know, no complaints. And even some of the people that when I did start using that machine and started passing it on to some people I respect very much so respect their opinion. Uh, they were very impressed that that cannabis was dried in the machine. So I don't know, to each their own,
What
but
sort of
it's
temperatures do you
definitely
use?
it's supposed to be locked in from 75 to 78, but it's drawing in room temperature. So, if your room's hot, then obviously it's going to be putting through a hotter temperature. But again, putting it in a cooler room and letting it do its thing, there's ways around slowing it down if need be. But the machine itself is supposed to be preset for a 75 to 80 kind of cutoff if it putting any heat to it.
Okay.
Definitely says on the machine not to be trying to like preserve food with it. It's definitely not made for food preservation. That's for sure.
Right, okay.
But I don't know. I think there's a lot going on during that drying phase, both processes. Yeah, it's not just a trot. You've done everything you can do, to be honest with you, and then it's done at that point. There's definitely some shit still going on in that plant until it's 100% dry.
Yeah.
So with that being said, how much does stress actually can stress sway a plant for the better in your opinion in flower? A lot of growers are taught not to stress that plant out during the flower stages. But I find, a little bit of stress towards the later end of flower can be very beneficial. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I keep the plant like as healthy as possible right to the end. Some of my friends even like to like reduce the water towards the end. I just feed the plant all the way normal till they chop, just giving it water. And yeah, I don't like starve it of water or anything like this, or let it dry in the pot or anything like that.
Yeah, I honestly don't think there's too many right and wrong ways to grow this plant. It's pretty damn resilient. But I definitely
No, it's definitely very resilient plant. But I find doing a few little extra things definitely can benefit the flavor.
do you have any ticks or any tips or tricks you use during flower that you'd like to share?
Um, yeah, just keeping the plant healthy, not having your room too hot. I think that's a big key. not having your room too hot, and yeah, I find a cool dry, low temperature drying works the best for me.
If somebody's interested in contacting you and kind of going over a preset like growing instructions, do you have that kind of stuff available for some of your strains, if not all of them, like a good feeding, what they necessarily like to eat throughout and all that good stuff, training tips? Back in the day, we've talked about, that's actually something they used to come in with some of the packs and stuff like that. Kind of a how-to guide. If they wanted to talk about some of that stuff with you, are you open?
Yeah, I'm always available on Instagram to talk or for people to ask me any questions like that. I'm going to be doing a much more in-depth strain description of each one of my lines. So they'll be available in the future soon. But yeah, I'm always available. Any questions, send me a message on Instagram.
That was always, we kind of covered a little bit there of the events and, the one-on-ones and all that. That's one of the things that I've always liked about buying seeds firsthand is talking with the breeder, uh, picking out some of their suggestions on how to grow it and stuff right firsthand, right from the man himself. I always thought was a great experience when buying seeds.
Yeah, and I've always got time for people like anyone that's bought my seeds and stuff like that. I'll make time, especially like Instagram. I'll always pop in and check my messages. So yeah, it tends to be one of the main places that I spend time now. Instagram, as like the forums back in the day was the place for me, and slowly people sort of moved away from them. Tends to be a lot more on Instagram and stuff like that now.
There's just so many platforms these days. I don't know how you could possibly spread yourself that thin and get anything done. Yeah, that's with it. The whole social media thing can be very demanding, or if you love it, I guess.
No, that's it. Yeah, but it works for me. Like, and I also like use it for like my art and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a good platform. But slowly, it seems to be not as many people to see the posts that are meant to, and yeah, I don't think they're showing the people what they're meant to, and a lot of the cannabis pages have been getting blocked, and there definitely needs to be some sort of new platform made. Yeah.
So, what kind of art do you like to do? Is it painting, or do you do sculptures, or
Yeah,
what's your art like?
more like smaller sort of sculptures, like wood carvings. I've just been making some things out of a fossilized mammoth tusk. So, and then I use a lot of like sort of stones and metals, and then sort of inlay patterns into the wood and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'll send you a link to my page later in a private message.
Please do. I think that shit's really cool. Really cool.
Are you
Very
creative at all
creative.
yourself?
I make furniture, not necessarily sculptures or paintings and stuff like that. I build furniture and I am very creative like that. Round things. I like to inlay woods. I like to mix different species of wood. Uh, yeah, I like to. It's difficult as I could make it, to be honest with you.
Okay. Have you got a page for your stuff and that?
No, I kind of left that dream a lot. It's more of a hobby these days, more or less. Uh, Success kind of scared me a little bit when it came to uh, custom shit like that, to be honest with you. I've always been a higher end carpenter that love trim work, kitchens, stuff like that, where the higher dollar work lies. And people kind of didn't want to pay for that real integral shit anymore. So I did started swaying off and making bowls and curio tech cabinets and CD holders and DVD holders and just a lot of really cool custom shit. But success scared me, to be honest with you, much like in cannabis today does, to be honest with you. Getting that to that next step, uh quality has always been something near and dear to my heart. And when it came to necessarily making a whole bunch of these pieces, everything I made, I limited for one. I always like that limited idea. I think it adds value. So I limited things to one, and then it really started to take off. More and more people got interested in it, and then I got to like a panic stage of where wanting it to get big, but get too big to where I couldn't handle it, and quality kind of spin out of control. And I didn't like the idea of taking on more people because, uh, again, I'm putting my reputation and everything in somebody else's hands, and that's always been a flaw for me. And that's, again, that kind of relates back right back to the cannabis dream. you know uh these days here in Michigan, uh there's a processor, and then you have the positioning cells stores themselves. Kind of what I was hinting back with you. I would definitely be very concerned about how long my product sat in a store, shelf before it started degrading. I wouldn't want after it hits a certain point and it's being sold, it still has, my name, my brand, my label on it. And I would be, if it's not to the quality of when I put it in the package, then I would be very let down to have somebody consume anything less than, you know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
kind of,
Like,
when it
but
came to the furniture
all
pieces
the
like that,
all
I
the
just
seed
kind of,
distributors that I use, like Seeds In Now, Simply Souvenirs, Manchester, they keep all the seeds in like refrigerated conditions. So it's not like it's sat on a shelf in a dispensary or in some like seed shop somewhere. So yeah, these are all in refrigerators.
different things as well too. And again, like when we're talking about letting somebody else kind of, we're talking cannabis, not necessarily mix the two up there. But like say if I take a couple pounds of product to a processor, well, who knows how long they've let it sit out before it got packaged, properly packaged and stuff like that. As we talked about, this is a degradable product. And, yeah, I just too many loops in the processing system there for me to be comfortable in these days and stand by the product.
Yeah, I think in like yeah, there's a lot of hit and miss products. Like even out here in the social clubs and stuff, some of the smoke is not the best, but there's a few that stand out above the rest. But the general standard, yeah, not the best.
So I guess in that kind of, I guess I can apply that question to you, Trichome Jungle Seeds. Uh, So with legality kind of swinging around here, how do how do you face off against it? You know what I mean? You're kind of looking at the same problem I looked at by putting in my sales online with my woodworking, the mass production. What are you even interested in a super large scale market? You know what I mean? Recreational goes across the board, across the world, man. People are beginning to want seeds. Is Trichome Jungle going to be a more, say, a boutique type operation, or do you have any interest in upscaling? And you know what I mean? That was my worry, is if that demand came, could I keep the quality up? Could I maintain my integrity? You know what I'm saying?
Oh
So
yeah.
with you're on the cups of the same type thing. I mean, how do you plan to approach? What's your mindset on it all? I guess.
Well, like I said, like keeping those six stable varieties. Do you know what I mean? And making those ones available to more of the like masses, and keep some of my other stuff more limited. So that's my idea, and hopefully get out to some of the bigger distributors, and yeah, hopefully get my seeds out to everywhere. But really pushing those new six lines, and they'll be available for a while now. So I'll be keeping the standard my side anyway.
Right. So I mean, how would you act if you say like one of these big boys came to you and was like, I want it all. I want all your stock right now. You know what I mean? Just for producing purposes, not necessarily resell
Yeah,
or
no,
whatever. Would you be like,
everyone,
oh shit, fire up
everyone,
the girls?
yeah, no, everyone gets their fair share. That's it. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Hopefully, as the market takes off, that you find yourself in a position to where you can upscale and meet the demands of the world, my friend. If that be the dream.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. Living the dream. Yeah.
That's another thing too. Trichome Jungle there. I guess again, relating back to myself. Uh, when does the dream become a nightmare? You know what I mean? And that's kind of what, again, relating back to just myself here. It's something you love to do when you can do it at your own pace and put the love behind every sanding swipe. You know what I mean? Every nail put in. But when it's no longer fun and it's become a production thing, it's still
Yeah, well, you can let the industry push you in a certain direction, or you push yourself in a certain direction. We sometimes we feel like obligated to bring out new strains all the time, and I've been in that thing myself, in it, trying to make as many things, and I made a lot of things over the last few years. But now it's time just to yeah, create those lines that I'm super happy with, and just push them for a good amount of time now, and just sit back and do some new selections, and take my time out this year just to select new plants. I think, yeah, it's just a battle in our own mind, isn't it?
Well, I can tell you one thing. I'm really grateful to hear that you are keeping, the art side of you alive and kicking. I think that's something that dies out in people very quickly in life. They kind of just go check into that 9 to 5, and they lose that artistic side, the visionary side, the imagination that is very needed to get goals done, to live good life, to be honest with you. So I'm glad that you're
No,
taking
just
the
being
time
creative.
to cultivate that side, my friend.
Yeah, it's good to just keep that creative side flowing. Um, it just keeps the soul alive, and I think it's just good for our mind as well, just to do these things. And it's only when you start to do them that you realize like how bad it is not to do them. So yeah, it's good to, doesn't matter what you do, creative in many different ways you can be.
Do you ever see some way of intertwining the two, your art and your cannabis work?
Yeah, I've done it a couple of times where I made some like little limited edition seed vials. So yeah, they started off as a little just sort of thing that I had a piece of crystal and carved a tube into it, and I was like, this could be a little seed vial. And then eventually I got a guy to help me make them on a more like mass produced scale, and did like a little limited seed drop in these little crystal vials. So yeah, intertwined my art a couple of times.
I remember those. I thought they were awesome. And it's funny because cannabis and crystals seem to go hand in hand. The interest in crystals.
Yeah, it's something I've always had an interest in, just from really early on as a kid as well. I just love crystals. I love just collecting things, wood carvings and stuff like that. And I think this shows in my art, like a lot of the things that I collected as a kid, like Japanese net skis and African wood carvings and all these different things. And then, yeah, I've definitely entwined all of this knowledge that I've learned over the years into my artwork. Yeah.
That's pretty damn cool. I hope that we can continue to find ways to intertwine the two. So how is there any ways that you can say that cannabis has clearly changed your life?
Yeah, definitely. Kind of like I said, like cannabis, definitely a teacher plant, and it's helped me learn a lot of things from, I don't know, even like electrical work and photography work to all sorts of other stuff, nutrients, my own diet. So yeah, and I think a lot of other psychedelic plants as well. So yeah, I think cannabis is one of those plants, and mushrooms and many other substances. Yeah, they've all played a role in helping me evolve and become the person I am.
It is a good teacher plant as well said. It's the first time I've actually heard it being referenced like that, and I think I may use it if you don't.
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah, definitely. It's a sacred plant, and I think more people should view it in this way as well.
So how are we looking? I don't want to overextend my welcome there. How are we doing on time? Just a little check in.
Yeah, no, all good. We can, yeah, if you want to wrap it up in about 10 minutes or something, I'll be ready to get on with my day and maybe have a little nap before I get on with my day.
Right on. And I guess a little bit reverting back to that, it sounds like as well as, you know, kicking ass in the cannabis garden there and your art, you're saying pretty active as well as physically in for a long ride yesterday, eh?
Yeah, that's it. Really been getting into my my health lately, yeah. So yeah, I've joined the gym and everything. So that's it. As we get older, we start to think about things more, and the health is one of them, and keeping much more active. Yeah.
I'm with you there. It definitely keeping active helps in the older age as far as recovery goes, man. I cannot wait for this winter to be over with, to be honest with you. I have slipped 3 times this year and I am done. I'm done with winter.
I think the CBD is really good for our body's health and healing and stuff like this. So I've been getting on the CBD and have a few drops of that every day. Yeah.
Right. So is cycling one of the more ways you're getting out and getting active? I used to love to ride the bike, getting
Yeah,
out
do you know
early
what?
morning, seeing that sunrise. Nothing
Yeah,
better.
I've got an electric bike, so it can take off that when I need to go up those hills. It's very handy. But that's my only form of transport. That's all I use. Yeah, I just ride my bike everywhere. So that's me. Yeah.
So you're already on your way to being healthy then. A little jealous
That,
there.
that's it. Try my best. Try my best.
Yeah, I need to get out there and follow suit a little bit, honest with you, man. That's one place I definitely am lagging lately is that cardio, getting out there, doing a little bit of running, getting consistent motion going. I need to do a little bit of that myself. So yeah, I do appreciate you kind of hanging out and taking time, especially after a super long day of hanging out, coming, talking about the
No,
available gear and all that.
yeah, no, I always appreciate you inviting me on. It's always a good show. I've listened to a few of yours in the past and that, yeah. So, yeah, good vibe about it.
I'd like to make sure and let you know that that same Zoom link that I sent you and have sent you is always good, my friend. Anytime that there's a We Nerd World episode on, panel type show that you want to come on and hang out, talk cannabis, talk whatever, you're more than welcome. You do not need an invitation. So keep that in mind and keep that handy if you would. We'd like
No,
to have
yeah,
you, and I'm sure there's other people that would like to have a chance to ask you firsthand about some of your strains. Like I said, that's some of the best times about getting out and buying seeds is being able to pick the breeders, head one on one. It's pretty awesome thing. So it'd be nice if you could pop in one night. Well, let somebody else besides myself kind of pick your brain a little bit about your process.
yeah. No, I'm definitely down for that. That it'd be a little different vibe again. So yeah, I'm down. So we'll pick one day. You let me know when there's like maybe a few people on or something like that.
Yeah. Well, basically anymore, other than last night we didn't do a Weed Nerd World, but anymore, there's pretty much Monday nights are Weed Nerd World, where it's the panel type show. Wednesday nights are the panel show. Any other night, the Weed Nerd Worlds are pretty sporadic. Like when we're done here, uh, I'll end this and take off again with a Weed Nerd World. The time slot, I'm still doing that crazy time slot as much as possible from nightly from 11:30 to 4:20. So yeah, any night that the guest doesn't take me to that 4:20 mark, I open up with the Weed Nerd World there. So there's always a possibility, Trichome. There's always a possibility.
No, cool. No, that's it. We'll definitely arrange it.
Well, with that being said, the one last thing I'd like to get from you before you go, my friend, is of course that sound bite. If you don't mind giving me a sound bite for future reference.
So here I am, Trichome Jungle Seeds, fucking talking shit with Eagle. Check it out.
Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you very much. Those fire seeds, I can't wait to get them in the ground. Like I said, I wish I could almost fast forward this move so I could get some of this fucking awesome gear in the popped. But you can most certainly bet they are top of the list of things to be popped, and I can't wait to get you back on the show and show you firsthand what they look like, in my garden.
Yeah, you'll have to show me some of your work as well, your woodwork and that, and I'll send you a link to my page in a bit now. But I'd be interested to see what you make as well.
Right on, I will get you some pictures because I do like to show that side off, even though I don't show it off too much on Instagram. I am very much proud of a lot of that stuff that I built. So I will. Thank you for being interested.
No, I'm always interested in other creative people's stuff. Yeah, it doesn't even matter what it is. Like just anyone that's got a passion for something, and it sounds like you're into similar stuff, especially with different types of wood and stuff like that. So yeah, it'd be good to see.
Yeah, I think some of my favorite projects I'll send you is the treasure chest. I built a treasure chest out of multi-strain woods, and the toy box, which I built for my youngest girl when she was just a baby, 18 now. The toy box, that's a pretty good testament right there, I think, is to build something and hand it to a young child and it make it through 18 years of childhood and still be in working form. I think that's a good testament to my construction. But it's a pretty awesome piece. It's all round. Everything's rounded on it. Pretty cool. Pretty proud of it. But I definitely will send you some pics.
No, I look forward to seeing it.
So with that being said, man, thank you very much for your time, man. It's been way too long, and hopefully we can do this again much sooner than we got to it this time, but it was well worth the wait. I can assure you
So
that.
we got there in the end. We got there in the end, yeah.
But with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in to this part 2 with Trichome Jungle Seeds. Amazing guest, great guy, as you guys have heard. If you're not following already, you should be. And if those genetics aren't in your garden, well, get to that website. Where can they find those seeds again? Trichome Jungle.
Just check out my Instagram page, and it's got them all at the top. But seeds here now, genetic supply, cool beans, simply souvenirs, Manchester seeds. Check them all out.
Thank you so much. Get some rest and have an amazing day, and we will talk again soon, my friend.
Okay, thanks for having me on. Been a pleasure. Have a good day.
You too. For the rest of you guys, stretch out, get ready for the Bleed Nerd world. If not, thank you very much for your time. This has been an amazing episode. Please do not forget to do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives. It's too easy. As long as it comes from my heart, I guarantee it will have weight.